Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. A very special warm welcome to all the massive list of new subscribers over the last couple of weeks really, mainly thanks to my garage montage video. So, we have another video. This is the one you've all been waiting for. Yes, how much did it cost me to build my garage? Well, let's find out, shall we? Let me quickly explain the columns I have here. So on the left I have the material. The next to that I have the size, so this is any size of material that I needed to buy. Now the next column is an estimate of the cost. So this is whatever research I did before I bought any of the items. I did a rough costing of what each item would cost. Okay, so that's in this column here. The quantity I purchased is in the next column, and then the next column is the estimated total. So obviously if I bought 5 of some items, it will be 5 times the individual cost. So the total cost, and this is an estimate. In the next column is the actual cost. So obviously I might have got some discount if I bought in bulk, or I found the item cheaper from where I originally found it. So this is the actual cost. This is the column that we're really interested in. And the last column is just any notes that I wanted to make. Okay, let's jump straight into it. Now, firstly, as you know, most of the work was done all by myself. So any labour that was chargeable will also be in the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet contains everything from all the wood, the door, right down to all the fixings, including nails, screws, etc. So pretty much anything that I'd spend money on, bar the tools, will be in the spreadsheet. So this should give you a good idea of how much it's going to cost for you to build something similar yourself. So let's start at the beginning. I had to get planning permission to build my garage. So I had to get the plans drawn up so I could submit them to the council for planning, which involved me paying an architect. So as you can see, the architect cost me £540, and that was him coming out to visit me. We talked about what I wanted, and he drew up some plans, and I then went and approved them, or I recommended some changes that I needed, and then they were a final draft. And in fact, that price also included him submitting them to the council on my behalf. That made it a lot easier. So if there was any comeback, it would have to go by him and not me, because I've never done anything like this before. So I was on new, and I wanted to get the planning sorted first time, which luckily I did. The next slide down is the cost of submitting the planning application to the council, and you can see that is £226. The next one is probably one of the biggest outlays, and that was to have the concrete base laid. Now, I've gone slightly oversized on my base, so I've gone 6.1 meters by 5.1 meters. Okay, now this cost, as you can see, I estimated just over £2,500 to have that done, but after a couple of quotes I managed to find some builders to do it for £2,100. Now that also included to dig a trench from the front of my house to the garage where I could lay my electric cable and my water cables. So that was including that, and to backfill it as well. The price does not include to take away any of the soil. I use the soil in the back garden for a raised bed. I just had to rent a skip to put the remainder of the soil in as well, so that's why you'll see the price of a skip a bit later on. The next service I had to pay for is obviously the electrics. Now, in the UK, we're not allowed to do any of the electrics ourselves, even though I am an electrical engineer or electronics engineer by trade. I'm not allowed to do the electrics and sign them off myself. So to keep it all above board, I had to get the electrics done. Luckily, my neighbour is a Sparky, so he did it for me. And you can see I estimated there that price, and the total price so far is 500. There are a few things that still need to be put up. I think I've just had the outside lights done. I have the outside sockets still to be put up, and a couple of sockets I need to change around in here, and maybe a couple of additional ones. So that price will vary a little bit more, but not by a lot. The next line is obviously the skip hire, which I just spoke about, which cost me £180. So now we go into the main construction of the frame. Now, I'm an engineer, so I've over-engineered this. If you look on a lot of kits you can buy, the framing for the sides is normally 3x2. Now, yeah, that may be okay, but I wanted to go one up. So I went with 4x2s for the actual frame of the sides of all the walls. So I bought all of the timber via my local timber supply yard up the road, and I bought them in a couple of different lengths for reasons I will talk about in a minute. So for framing the sides, as I said, I went 4x2s, and I bought 2.4 meters because that is the size of the garage. The height of the garage was just under that, so it works out kind of perfect. I don't have too much waste then. So just for the framing of the sides, I bought 62 lengths at 2.4 meters, which I estimated to be £354. But because I got a bit of a bulk discount, it came in at £291. Next, some more 4x2s, and this is for the top and bottom plates. Now these needed to be the whole. I wanted these in one single piece, so I took the longest size I could. So my garage is 5x6, so I bought them in 6 meter lengths, and I bought 12 of those because obviously you need bottom plates and then a double top plate. That estimated £164, actually came in at just over 156. Next I bought some 4x2 again, slightly smaller. I bought these are 3 meters, and these are just for the noggins. So this is just to give it the sides some stability. If you look on a lot of the American YouTube sites, they don't use noggins, but I wanted to just to give it a bit more stability. I estimated that at £20, and it came in at just over £20 because it's such a small amount. So the next timber I needed to buy a couple of 8x2s. Now this is for the header for the main garage door. The garage door is about 4.4 meters wide, so I bought them 4.8, which fits in nicely because they fitted on top of my studs, and I put them sideways on, back to back, screwed them together, and that gave it a nice sturdy header for my big garage door. As you can see, they came in at £37.75. Speaking of headers, for the small garage door, obviously the personal door and the header for the small window, they were both 6x2s. So I bought one at 4.8 meters and one at 3 meters. Again, they were double stacked, and they came in at £13.80 and £9.80 respectively. All right, next we have some 3x2s. Now these are for the ladders, so these create the overhang on the apex of the roof, just to give it. I think it makes it looks a bit nicer, gives it a bit of protection from the weather as well for the front door. So I made these myself out of 3x2, and I bought a quantity of 10 at 3 meters each. and they came in at just under £52. Next, we have some fascia boards. So these are 4x1 bits of timber, and I put these, a bit like fascia board really, underneath the eaves of the sides of the garage. This will stop birds and insects, etc., flying up inside to my garage roof, which obviously we don't want. I had 8 of those at 3.6 meters, and they came in at £36. Right, the roof trusses. Now, originally I was going to build my own roof trusses, but when I worked out the cost of the timber and the thickness of the timber I would need for the span of my garage, it was going to cost me well over £1,000 just for the timber alone, and then I'd have to spend a lot of time cutting all the angles, marking out all the bird mouths, etc., etc. And it was actually the builder who did my concrete base said to me, well, why don't you just buy him ready-made trusses, because they are engineered built for strength, and you'll be quite surprised at the price. So when I did some investigations, I found a company that will do them, and this price here was a delivered price. The length is 5/160, and I've gone for 20 degrees on these, and I've had 11 trusses. I worked out 11 trusses, so I've got a nice even space on my roof. And I was quite surprised. So that price there, the £510, is including delivery and all the bracing and clips that you needed to install them. So I thought that was pretty good. So next we just have some batten. This is obviously put on the side before the cedar goes on. So I just got 50 by 11 mil at 3.6 meters, and I got 30 of those. It came out about £54. Right, the next. Now, OSB. Now the OSB, I've got 8x4 sheets. I've gone for 11 mil. This is the OSB for the sides and also the roof. Now I could have gone thicker, but obviously thicker means heavier. And you know, I was doing this on my own. It was hard enough trying to get an 8x4 sheet up on the roof at 11 mil. I would never have got an 18 mil sheet up there on my own. And the same with the sides, really. You know, I had to create some, as you've seen in one of my videos, I had to create a system to get a sheet of OSB up high on my own. There's no way I could have done a 18 mil. It's just too heavy. And an 11 mil, to be fair, is fine for what I need. But the cost of OSB has spiraled. So they worked out at almost £20 a sheet, you know, and I needed 33 sheets. So it's 15 for the side and 15 for the roof, including the apex. And I had a couple spare, which in hindsight is good because I used them to board out my loft. So that was quite handy. But as you can see, I estimated there it was £657. And they actually came in at 575 because I got a nice discount there. So that was quite good. I also have some batten here. This is for temporary bracing my walls when I was building them. So that's kind of a written off cost. I have used the wood elsewhere, but it was only £12, so it's not too bad. Now the most expensive part of the materials was, of course, the cladding. Now, I could have gone for cheaper cladding. I could have got larch, is it? Anyway, I could have got cheaper cladding, but I wanted cedar because cedar looks nice. And I went with British cedar. A, because it's a bit cheaper than Canadian, and obviously I'm supporting the British industry. When you look at cladding, you can get all sorts of different cuts, and I wanted a cut that was quite modern looking, so I wanted a square cut. Now, I was told when I ordered this cladding that the GG&S, that's the type of cut, is normally fitted vertically. And I did think about going vertical. In the end, I wanted horizontal, so that's where I went. And the place I bought it from was Cedar Direct. And if you have a look on their website, you can go on there. You can choose exactly what you want. Put in the the amount you need, and it will give you a quote there and then. So, and that's where I got this £2.5 from. So that was my quote. And I think I bought about, I think I put 10% extra as spare, because you can do that. And also I bought 3 tubs of this Tredex oil. So if you don't oil the cedar, it will go grey over time, and I didn't want that, so I treated it with this Tredex oil, which is supposed to be pretty good. It does stain it a little, which is not ideal. I wanted it kind of natural looking, but in the end, I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. Anyway, the total cost for that, this is a delivered price, it was 2353. So again, a great expense, but you could go cheaper if you want. I think Larch is an option, something like that. Rings a bell, but don't quote me on that. So that's all the wooden materials taken care of. So let's go to fixings. Now, I bought a nail gun, a used one, because obviously I'm not going to use it a lot, and they are expensive new. And I managed to buy a DeWalt nail gun, and with that came some nails. So I got some. I think I got about 1690mm and 860mm. So I've put them down as zero cost. But I did have to buy some more. So I bought some 50mm for the nail gun. I bought 2 boxes, and they come, if you look at your local suppliers, I think it comes in about just £37, but I managed to buy them on eBay for under 20 quid, so that was pretty good. To fix the cedar, you have to use stainless nails, otherwise they can cause staining. So again, I bought these on eBay. These were 50mm. I think it was 1 box of these for £43, a little bit more expensive, obviously, because they're stainless. Next 2 lots of nails were just normal single nails for your hammer. I bought 75mm and 50mm galvanized from Screwfix, and they were about just over a £5 a pack. Also from Screwfix, I bought a various amount of screws, as you can see here. So I've got 90mm, 150mm, 50mm, 80mm and 120mm. Now all of those are for various types of fixings. Some are for temporary bracing, some are for the headers. As you can see, they're not overly expensive, and you can see the price there, and these are all from my local Screwfix. I've also bought some turbo coach screws, pack of 100. Can't remember where I use those. It might be for turbo screws. They might be for my desk. They might be for the desk, so you may not need those, but anyway, they're there. The next 2 lines are for some staples. Now these were for stapling on the underlay on the roof, and also for the house wrap. So I've got 8x10 and 10x10 millimeter there. The next line is also some staples. These are 8mm staples. These are for a hand stapler, which I use to fix the insulation on the inside of the roof. Next, drywall screws. This is obviously for the plasterboard, and that came in at £7 again from Screwfix. And then I have some concrete screws. These are for my workbench. I didn't actually use these in the end because the workbench is so secure that it's not going to move, so they're kind of not been used. However, the next one, the other concrete screws, these are 10mm by 100mm, and these secure the actual base of the wall to the concrete. So you just drill a hole in the concrete, and these are fixed in. And for a pack of 25, they were £20, but they are really, really good, and I recommend them. You'll see me fixing them in one of my videos. Next, we're moving on to the roof and waterproofing. These first 4, so this is all to do with the house wrap. Now I bought Tyvek, which is the best one you can get. and I managed to get these from eBay at quite a good price. So I got 1.4 meters to up to 100 meters of house wrap. I didn't use all of that, so I have got some left over. And if you look online, they're about £110 to buy. I managed to get a roll for £99 delivered. And the tape itself is quite expensive as well. So I got two lots of tape here. I got 50mm and 75mm, both 25 meters long. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, I got two of each there actually. Yeah, sorry. So two of each should have been £40. They're £20 a roll, and I managed to get two of £25. And you can see though I got one roll spare still, so I only needed 3 rolls in the end. So next up is another Tyvek product. Now this is called Flexwrap. Now this is what I put around the window to make it waterproof. So it goes on the inside, and then kind of the inside and the outside. I do show it in one of my videos, but it's flexible. So when you go around the corner to do the sill, it flexes out and it makes it totally waterproof. I've got no water coming in at all in the build, so I'm quite happy with that. So this was 150mm and a meter long, so it just goes around the window. I bought 2 of those, and they came in at about £11. Next is the shingles for the roof. Now I could have gone, metal roof. I could have gone plastic roof, but I like the 3-tab asphalt shingles. They look really cool, and you can get them in different colours. I chose black. They come in about a metre long. One pack covers 3 square metres of the ones I bought anyway. So when I estimated the quantity for my roof, I needed 13 packs, and they came in at just under 380 quid, and that included the clout nails and delivery, which I thought was pretty good. And they came from the roofing warehouse. Now to stick down the top of the kind of the apex of the roof, you need some sealant. So this is this Everbuild roof and gutter sealant, which I used, which was recommended. So I bought 2 tubes of that, which came in at £8.60 from Amazon, which was really good. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I had a roof underlay. Now this is kind of a waterproof, breathable membrane. Now I had this open to the elements for a good 6 weeks before I put my shingles down, and it did a fantastic job of keeping the roof nice and dry and waterproof. So I bought this I bought from Screwfix, and it was 40 meters by meter, and it was just enough to cover my roof. Some more weatherproof sealants. Now I put these on the inside of between the bottom frame and the concrete, just to give it a nice waterproof seal on the inside. So I bought 3 packs of this, and they came in at just over £20. I bought some flashing tape. Now this is what another waterproof item, which I put on the outside to cover the bottom frame, between the frame and the concrete. Not between the frame and the concrete, sorry, I did this over the top. So because my concrete base is a little bit bigger than my actual frame, I stuck it between the frame and the concrete. So any water that would run down the frame would then run off this flashing tape and straight down into the soil. So I got a couple of flashing tapes there, as you can see, exactly the same. One from Amazon, one from eBay, but they are the same. You can see the prices there. And actually that's another flashing. So I've got 3 lots of flashing tape there. And the last one on that one is DPC. Now this is the damp-proof course, which I fixed to the underneath of my bottom plate to give it a bit more protection. I bought 30 meters of this from Screwfix, and it was £6. So moving on to the doors and windows. Now obviously the biggest cost to me was my fully electric insulated garage door. Now I could have gone a lot cheaper here. I could have gone for a roller door that was half the price of this, but I wanted it to look nice, because the windows on my house are anthracite grey, so I wanted to match with that. Also, this type of door has a 40mm insulation built in. It's also more secure than a roller door. And this particular model I chose, the fixings for the inside, the runners, go right up against the rafters on mine, so I don't lose any headspace for when the truck comes in. So this was the best suited door for my needs. So yes, you can go cheaper, but I chose something specific for my needs. And as you can see, the cost here was £2.5 grand. That's fully fitted, which I thought was pretty good. Next, I have my steel side door. Now, I was really lucky. I managed to buy this from eBay. It's brand new, and it's just been, someone bought it and never used it. It had a few scratches on it, but it didn't really bother me. And you can see that's 2.1 meters high by 1 meter wide. So it's quite a big door. And it's made of steel, so it's ultra strong. And I bought that for £85. And it was a right struggle getting in the back of the Disco 3, I can tell you, on your own, because it's bloody heavy. Next is the window. So I have a very small window, 1.2 meters by 900mm. And if you haven't seen me, this was a white window, and I sprayed it anthracite grey. If you want to see that video, click the link above. I got this locally for free, which is always a good price. Now, electrics. Now, as I said earlier, I had an electric cable, armoured cable, from the house ran to my garage underground. So that's the first item here, is the armoured cable. So I've gone for 6mm, as recommended by my Sparky. And you can see my estimated cost here, £95, but he managed to get it for me for £50. So next we have some lighting. So I've gone for LED batten lights. Now they're double ones, so they throw out more light than the single one. So I've gone for 4 5-foot and 2 4-foot. Now my original plan was to have the 5-foot ones on the roof and have the 2 4-foot ones on either side of the wall, and I have them on a separate switch. So when I'm doing some polishing on the car or working underneath the car, I can turn them on to throw some more light under the car or onto the side bodywork. I've not had those fitted yet. Kind of in two minds about installing them on the side, so I might fit them above my 2 desks. I'm not really sure yet. Anyway, the cost of those, the 4 lights came in at the 4. Actually, that should be, yeah, that's wrong there. That should be 6 foot. Ignore that. That should be 6 foot. Sorry, the 4 6-foot lights came in at 239, and the 2 4-foots came in at 71, and that's kind of trade prices as well. They are quite expensive. The next 2 items are the cable. So I've got obviously 2.5mm 3-core and 1mm 3-core, and that's for the main sockets and the lighting. So these are reels I bought. They came in at £45 and £23 respectively. The next 3 items are just the sockets that I had, various around the garage. So I've gone for double sockets, double pole, just normal ones in white, but they're nice looking ones. So I've got 8 of those, came in at just under £20. I have 2 with USB on, came in at just under 24, and I got 1 external one which came in at just over £13. And obviously you need the back boxes, so I've got some double and single back boxes for the sockets and obviously the switches. So they're the £28 and £3 respectively. And then of course I'll have some switches for the lights. Conduit, £6. Obviously the saddles and adapters for that as well. Just kind of pennies really. The next items are all for my consumer unit. So I have power coming in, as I mentioned before. It comes into a consumer unit, and I have I've got maybe four RCDs in there. So I've got obviously the lights, the garage door, sockets, and also I have a separate socket with a higher 32 amp breaker on it. So that's in case I ever want to put a compressor in here, because obviously a compressor creates a big surge when it starts up. So I had that kind of fitted for future proofing. So you can see all the price in there. That's kind of pennies, but it does. The consumer unit was quite £30, and surge protection. Oh, and also I had. So when I took the spur from my house, we fitted in a switch from the fuse board as well. So that's that. We have some earthing here as well because we've got water coming in, although we haven't. But if we ever do have water coming in, you need to earth the garage separately. So that's kind of future-proofing that as well. And then we're kind of down to my outside lights. My original plan was to have a timer, which you can see listed below. Have a timer so I could turn the outside lights on and off on a timer, and then also in line with that have a light sensor so I could have them coming on at a certain time and then going off when it gets light in the morning. Had a kind of change of plan, but I bought some smart plugs which I used over Christmas to power Christmas tree lights and lights outside the house. So what I've done is used one of those which now powers the outside lights, and then I can set up schedules for the lights to come on and off, and I can turn them on and off directly from the app on my phone. So that's why the timer is no longer in use, and I think that's a better way of doing it. Right, so next I've just got some general items here. Expanding foam, obviously to have going around the window and the door, and also all of the insulation, which I'll come on to in a minute. So all of the insulation boards I put in, I use expanding foam just to pad it out a little bit. And those prices were there. Got some gun cleaner, obviously. I started off, I think the first expanding foam I bought was just a standard spray can, but you have to throw it away once you finish with it. So I bought the proper tool, the proper gun, which you screw onto the can, and then I just use the gun cleaner to clean it out afterwards, so you don't waste anything. So that's why that's there. The next kind of big outlay was the flooring. Now, if you've only watched my montage video, you won't have seen any of the flooring being done. So really you need to go back now. I'll put the link above and watch the flooring video. So after a lot of research, mainly on American YouTube channels, the Rust-Oleum seems to be the most popular it's kind of a semi-professional epoxy flooring that you can do DIY for a reasonable cost. If you want to get the professionals in, you're talking a lot of money. Also, on that research, everyone was saying that one kit comes up short, so always buy more. So I went and bought 2 kits, and that was only just enough to cover double garage. As you can see here, I spent £132 on 2 kits. So that comes with that's the whole kit. So it comes with the epoxy, the chips, and the cleaner. Next, a little bit of cement. So that was just to repair a bit of some of the floor which had cracked, and also the water pipe, which is in, but I haven't connected it up at all. But it's kind of for future use. Right, next, again, if you've only seen the montage video, you won't have seen any of the insulation being done. I managed to get 6 75mm 8x4 insulation from someone I know for £80. However, when lockdown came, it was very hard to obviously go out and buy used items from people because you weren't allowed. So in the end, I had to buy new, which was obviously almost triple the money. So I found a company that would deliver them to me. So I got some 60mm. I got 6 sheets, and that was about £157. Cheapest I could find by a company called BMD, which are around the corner actually. But I think they just kind of do drop shipping, so it came delivered direct from the manufacturer. But that was enough to finish off the garage, all the walls. For the roof, I used this double foil insulation, which you just so I left an airspace between the roof and obviously the roof, so air can get around. And then I stapled this insulation in the rafters. So I bought 2 lots of this. They were normally £50 each. I got them from the same supplier. One was £50 from Amazon, and then I managed to get the exact same thing for £35 from eBay from the same seller. So it just proves to shop around there. Obviously, you need some tape to tape up all the gaps. That's not cheap either because it's kind of reflective silver tape. Again, 2 different prices from the same seller. Next is plasterboard. I gone for 12.5mm plasterboard, 8x4 sheets, and they cost me £110 delivered from Wix, and I had to buy 14 of those, which was just enough to go around all the walls. I have some various some filler which I used for something, can't remember what. I was only just over a fiver, and some scrim tape for the insulation, just to get some neat joints there, and then some paint. So I got 5 litres of just white emulsion from Wilko for £12. So this next category is to do with my desk. So obviously I had some wood left over from the build. So I built a desk, which I've not made a video on, but maybe I will. So I used some 4x2 timber to create a corner desk. Then I had to buy some more 4x2 internal timber to finish it off. So that came in at £27. And then I bought some 3x2 timber to make my floating shelves. So that came at another £27 all from B&Q. That seemed to be the best place to buy it from, better than Wix. I then bought a A4 sheet of 18mm plywood for my main bench. You haven't seen it, but it's kind of like a right angle shape with a cut off. So that I got that used for 20 quid, including delivery. And then I just bought some plywood offcuts, which I suppose are about 18mm again. And they are for the floating shelves and the shelves underneath my desk. So yeah, they were quite cheap. But again, if you're not going to build any internal storage, but of course you will, then that just gives you a rough cost. I will make a video on my desk one day. Next thing is guttering. Obviously, I haven't finished my guttering yet, but eventually I need to buy a water butt. So I'm going to have a water butt outside the window, and both sides of the roof, the gutter, will flow into my water butt, and then I'll have some nice clean rainwater, which is ideal for filling up buckets and also for rinsing off cars, because it's it's not like the hard water we get here, which leaves water spots on the car. Anyway, I'll just quickly go through the guttering because it's just guttering, isn't it? So I've gone for black round half guttering, 112mm. So I can see you got 3 meters here, a pack of 6. That was £30. These are from Talkstation. And then of course you've got the brackets to fix it, and I've got 2. Yeah, So I bought a pack of 10 and then some single ones from different places because Talkstation ran out, so I had to get a screw fix. Then you've got some outlets, which obviously you need, and obviously the downpipes. But I'm not going to go through this because you can see it here, and it's pretty boring stuff. As I say, I haven't bought the water butt yet, but I will. It's on my list of things to do. And then, lastly, not least, is just some delivery charges, which is when I bought the wood that was only in small quantities. They charged me delivery, so they came to £55. So this total here, this was my budget. So I originally budgeted for under 15 grand, and as you can see, that came in at 13, just under 13.8. And this is what I actually spent. So I actually spent £12,772.69. So that's what cost me. Now, I had a comment on one of my videos saying, "Oh, I don't think you got value for money for building that garage," because he compared it to a log cabin that he imported. When I found a double garage that was the same size as this one, but that only had a single door, kind of log cabin style, it was £6.5 grand. So then you still have to buy the door, you still have to build the base, you still have to do the electrics, you still have to insulate it, and by then you're up pretty much the same price as I am. Now, as you can see, I built this to my needs, to my spec. I designed it all, and I built it all. So I think that's a pretty good price. I think if I'd have gone for a brick built garage, it would have been 35-40 grand to get that built here. I mean, I had a quote while the builders were doing something on my house. I asked them for a quote, and they came in at 8 grand just to do the base for a brick built garage. 8 grand. That's before you even start building. So anyway, I hope that answers a lot of your questions now of how much did it cost me to build my garage. So there it is. There is the total. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I hope that's been helpful to you all. I have a few more videos to do on the garage, so please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.